Hello and welcome to another edition of the Schmozcast. I am Anthony Deneau in the studio at 103.5 The Sun with Aiden and Andre. Aiden, you got a last name? We've gone over this before, haven't we?
Yes, it's English.
Aiden English and Andre Martinez, literal Andre Martinez. How you fellas doing tonight?
Doing positively wonderful.
I'm doing well as well.
Good to be well as well, because we've got Hell in a Well.
Well in a cell.
Or something, or rather, to talk about for today. We're going to wrap up things from Hell in a Cell, but also the following two shows, Raw and SmackDown. Big match tonight. We've got, is it the UK title and the North American title are on the line in a match on NXT, if I'm not mistaken.
I did not know it was a double title match. I thought it was just...
I believe it's a double title match.
I thought it was just North American.
Aiden,
okay, Aiden, Mr. English?
Cannot confirm?
Not at the moment.
No worries. We'll figure that out for you. But I'm pretty sure that's the headliner tonight. Of course, we also have more of the Mae Young Classic.
Yes, I have not seen any of it yet. I'm going to do a little binge of that here very soon.
And also, 205 Live moved to Wednesdays, I believe, starting tonight.
Oh, really?
I believe it's on 6 o'clock Central Time, and NXT is right afterwards on the WWE Network.
So are they going to change the title to 205 Taped?
Live to tape. 205
Live to tape.
And I
like
believe
that
they
better.
actually tape it before SmackDown.
I read that too.
Yes.
We've always kind of been clamoring for that, though, haven't we? Like, it's really was in a tough spot.
I think this is
yes.
temporary, though. I think it's just for the mixed match challenge.
Oh, that makes sense.
But I could be wrong.
No, that's fair. I mean, that does draw more viewers. That does make sense. But
if this is successful, then it could possibly be permanent if upper executives decide so.
No, I think
the one
that's
thing that should
certainly
remain
a possibility.
permanent regardless is doing the 205 Live matches before SmackDown as opposed to after, because then you have a crowd, or at least a crowd that's filling the stadium in as opposed to leaving the stadium. So as 205 Live goes longer, the crowd will get fuller as opposed to emptier.
But now we got the most exciting 2 hours on the WWE Network on Wednesdays now, back to back.
Yes. So, let's get into some stuff from the weekend here. We want to get into the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We're going to start with the main event, as weird as that sounds, but just to make sure we get it all in, you had Roman Reigns retaining, but without a victory against Braun Strowman, which, Andre, you're not too pleased with. You didn't think that this was possible in these type of rules with this match of Hell in a Cell.
This bothers me to no end because, first of all, I just want to put it out there. I don't have a problem with Brock Lesnar coming down, kicking the red cage off of the red cell, which, by the way, if you didn't see it, it was completely red. If you didn't see it, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, we're going to get into that, I think,
yeah.
too.
So him kicking down the door and beating up Braun and Roman Reigns, that doesn't bother me. But after that, when the new ref comes down, because Mick Foley got, he couldn't take a bump, so he got maced by Paul Heyman. And when the two competitors were down in the ring, the new ref comes out, looks at them both, shrugs his shoulders, and then calls for the bell, which to me just flies in the face of the rules of Hell in a Cell. There have been Hell in a Cell matches before when someone has gotten involved. The very first one had Kane, the debut of Kane. That's gotta be Kane. He came down, ripped the door off, much similar. But when both competitors were down in the ring, someone made a cover. Shawn Michaels crawled and put an arm over. I love Braun Strowman, but if you're going to have a match end, at least have, if you intent on Roman keeping the title, at least have him put his arm over Braun after he got attacked by Brock and have someone count to 3. That bothers me to no end, that a Hell in a Cell, as Xavier Woods says that we have to say it, or Kofi says we have to say it, ends in a no contest, or a whatever you want to call it. What?
So, also, Aiden, when you compare this to other Hell in a Cell matches, especially maybe not the greatest Hell in a Cell, but the most memorable one, which of course I would say is Mankind and Undertaker, and we got to see the 20-year Foley special afterwards. We'll talk a little bit about that. But doesn't it almost, if that's like the idea that we're kind of alluding to that this whole time, but then this is the way you end it, where, I mean, nothing crazy really happened. Like, how was Foley able to go through 3 of these crazy stunts, but the match would continue? Like, it really doesn't match up with any other Hell in a Cell ever, does it? It makes it just, when you think about it, in the history of Hell in a Cell matches, it looks like it's got to be one of the worst, only in terms of ending, especially.
Yeah, it makes it look very weak when you have the top level competitors being, like, let's say, like, unconscious after a couple broken table shots to the back and then F5 once each. And when these guys have taken multiple F5s in the same match and, still gotten up afterwards. So it's weak for character building and just a weak ending to what should be a definitive match that ends rivalries.
And on top of that, the match preceding that segment, it wasn't bad per se, but it wasn't necessarily particularly violent. There was one or 2 chair shots and a table spot, and that's it.
They were out, air quotes, for way too long for my liking, for a Hell in a Cell match, and for how long they were out. Then the 2 teams came out, McIntyre and Ziggler against the rest of the Shield on top of the cage. They were down for way too long. Also, with the Lesnar segment, I was fine with him being a part of it. I thought it was actually a really a good comeback and a pop, because we've said before, and we might get to this again, about how Hell in a Cell is kind of the lower level pay-per-view that we'd like to see eliminated, basically.
Deleted.
And if I'm not, did this pay-per-view start at 6 or 7?
6.
It did start at 6.
All pay-per-views start at 6.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the case because I watched it off time. So, but I also could have used some more suplexes from Brock Lesnar. That was something I also thought was like, okay, they did get an F5 at least each, and the table shots, but I also would have liked to see some suplexes in there. And yeah, no definitive winner. I don't get why you do that. So then, does Braun get his cash in back, or is that he's already cashed in? They have a
triple threat match at Crown Jewel.
Is that what they're calling it?
3. Yep.
That's what they're calling it. Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
In Australia.
No, that one's in Saudi Arabia.
What the hell is Crown Jewel?
Crown Jewel is the one in Saudi Arabia.
The one they just announced on Monday.
When is that?
It's coming
soon.
Up. All 3 of these pay-per-views are coming up within boom, 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 boom.
When is
boom.
the next
The next show is Super Showdown in Australia on October 6th, which you can purchase on the WWE Network for $9.99.
Awesome.
I mean, Aiden English does work for the company.
That's right.
You can subscribe right now and get 30 days free. I mean, you get the show free.
Okay, so when is the next pay-per-view? Is Survivor Series the next pay-per-view?
I think that's the next main one.
Okay.
Yep, with Showdown, Evolution, and Crown Jewel in between.
Now in Survivor Series.
Yep.
Oh man, that's why I see your note here of holy overexposure.
Yes, before 2018 is out, we have many shows to get through.
Yeah, this seems like a lot. Well, back on task here. What did you guys think about the Hell in a Cell itself being red, and also some of the extra bars that helped us get a spot in our opening match where Randy Orton would defeat Jeff Hardy via pinfall in the Hell in a Cell, the SmackDown Hell in a Cell?
The red didn't bother me too much, but I wasn't there. I have an extreme fear of heights, so whenever people go on top, the first cage is fine, but whenever people go on top of the new-ish 20-foot cage, my heart always sinks. There was a segment in the CM Punk match where him and Paul Heyman went on the top, and my heart dropped. So the one good thing about it being red is I didn't get that same sensation because you can't really see through it that well. But that made me think the people in attendance also couldn't see through it that well, so it probably wasn't the best for the people there. But us at home, they had so many shots from inside the cage that it didn't matter too much. It was different. I don't say I hate it. I don't necessarily love it. It's just, it is what it is. It's not something that I'm wasting a lot of time or energy thinking about.
Yeah, in concept, I thought it would be a strange idea since you've had this, regular steel cage for over 20 years now, and then you all of a sudden painted red for theming, even though this is like the ninth or so Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So they just now decide, oh, maybe we'll do something different, even though they've only used it twice in the nights. So I think if they wanted to go all out, they should have made like one more Hell in a Cell match, maybe like Becky Lynch versus Charlotte
That's what
Flair.
I had thought was going to happen. I was that.
If they
I must have been
they're
confused
going to
with
go
that.
through all that trouble to paint the whole thing, I feel like they should have showed it off more. But like Andre said, that on TV and at home, it didn't bother me too much since it was the shots they did were easy to see everything. But I can't say for the audience how well they could see through it. So, but I'm also kind of indifferent to it. I'd rather they didn't than did, because it's a tradition that shouldn't really be messed with too much, even though they've already messed with it enough for the past 9-ish years.
There's been 41, counting the two last night, 41 Hell in a Cell matches since its inception in 1997.
So, okay, what is that? About two a
Or
year?
98, I can't
About
remember.
2 a year?
I think so.
Which is, I don't know, I guess that's okay.
But there were
I don't-
stretches in there where they didn't. I don't know. I'd have to go and look back. That's such a really interesting question, Vroni.
Because we've kind of all said that we don't like gimmick pay-per-views, and this is one that we would get rid of. I wasn't a huge fan of the red cage. I would have been furious if I had been at the show. I think that would have not been a good visual, but I can't say that for sure. But it just, even the shots from the outside, it was like, okay, it's visually appealing because it's different, but I think that it took away from the action from the outside. But we, of course, having the benefit of watching it on television, not exactly as upsetting, I guess, for a viewer as opposed to a fan in person who paid their money for a ticket.
If I was a fan and paid my money for a ticket, I'd be more upset with the finish than the cage.
Oh,
itself.
that's a fair argument.
I don't know. The Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton was probably well worth it, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I want to ask you guys next. What did you guys think about the first Hell in a Cell, which actually opened the night?
Excellent. Very good Hell in a Cell match. Other than the ear spot, which to their
man,
credit
I forgot about that.
was great storytelling and a very good visual, but it just turned my I did not watch all of it. I watched kind of like through the corner of my eye because it was so disturbing. But it's Randy Orton and it fits, and it makes me worry for his next victim. But that's another story for another day. But great match. That spot with Hardy. Yes, Randy Orton rolled off the table way too early, but it doesn't bother me because if you put yourself, kayfabe, in Jeff Hardy's position, you're already swinging at full speed. You can't do anything. Your hands are just going to let go, and you're just going to try and protect yourself. And that one could have been ended in a no contest because he was out, but the ref actually counted to 3 for that.
After some persuasion.
Hefty
true.
persuasion. Yeah, I think really this was the better match of the two. I think there was the better moment of either match was probably Lesnar coming in, but yeah, holy cow, the earlobe spot, which I never thought. Have we ever said that before?
No.
Has there ever been an earlobe spot that we've
Screwdriver,
we've talked about?
earlobe. I never thought we'd hear that sentence put together in a wrestling context, or in any context, actually.
It was only in a horror movie, maybe, but same thing. I was kind of turning away, trying to look at anything else, but am I going to miss something?
Was that a shoot ear or gimmick ear? Because he twisted that thing tight.
It was bad. That was absolutely gross.
It was had full more than 2 twists on it too. I mean, obviously we know that Jeff Hardy probably really prepared for that spot to really loosen his ears, so he actually didn't feel at least minimal pain from that, because that was a lot of twists.
It's Jeff Hardy. The things he's done, and that was great. The things he's done in his career, I think that was not too bad. I don't know though. That's be a good question to ask him if he's ever interviewed.
But that spot was, I actually did almost vomit from that because it's like a train wreck. It's terrible, but you can't look away from it. And I just was frozen, just staring at it the whole time. Because the first time Randy Orton does it, we never expected it, and then we expected him to do something, but not to this extent. So it really just exceeded my expectations in all the best and worst ways.
And then a segment on Tuesday just keeps you kind of looking forward to the future because he jumped into the production truck and made the guy in the truck replay the twisting of the ear over and over again.
Orton did?
Yeah,
Yes.
on
Oh, really?
SmackDown. And then he said, if you think that was something, or something to the extent of, if you think that was bad, wait till you see what happens.
Well, it's
to
because
my
he had his hand like gripping the guy's shoulders, and he's
you're
like,
right.
"You're hurting me." I was like, "Oh, that hurts."
his
Wait till
mouth.
you see what I do to my next victim, because we all know that heel Orton is best Orton.
I agree. Okay, so maybe not the end for that rivalry.
I think that rivalry's over. I think
Okay, you think
Randy
Shinsuke
Orton
now?
is gonna somebody. I don't know.
I feel like we
That's a
never
good question.
because it was kind of a three-way rivalry, sort of, I guess.
For
So-
like a minute, and then they
It
kind
became
of
clear that Orton had his
But no
sights
Shinsuke at
set.
this pay-per-view.
no.
No, that's interesting.
But they on SmackDown he did have a U.S. title match against Rusev.
Okay.
We'll get to that later.
Okay. Next up on the card, Becky Lynch
Yes.
wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. Andre, this is your favorite rivalry right now.
Favorite rivalry, Becky Lynch is one of my favorite.
Other than, well, I guess
wrestlers,
Daniel Bryan and The Miz.
Daniel Bryan and The Miz. SmackDown's knocking it out of the park with their feuds and their storytelling. But Becky Lynch finally winning. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. Not that it wasn't. I just thought they were saving it for Evolution. But they got me on that one, and I was pleasantly surprised. Becky Lynch has been a long time coming for this. 2 years since she's won the title. And it was a roll-up, reversal into another roll-up. A great way for her to eke out a victory and to continue the feud. Second best feud or second best feud? It's between Miz and Bryan and Charlotte and Becky, but it's great. I'm loving it, and a great match too.
Yeah, so a very good match is what I call the perfect finish because Becky won, and that's always
Yep.
the perfect finish.
Yep.
And the spot right afterwards where Charlotte tries to extend her hand out and try to renew the friendship, and Becky's just like, "No, I won in your face, B word." Can't say it on the air.
She
But-
says it on the air.
Well,
I'm
yes,
kidding.
she
Don't say it. I was
She
just
can.
kidding.
I can.
Is Becky Lynch the most over wrestler, male or female, in WWE right now?
No.
I mean,
Female.
Have you been
yeah,
watching
I think
SmackDown,
most over female.
No, but
She is over,
On
as
SmackDown.
Conrad would say, over like Rover. It's the most over on SmackDown. I don't watch Raw, so you could be right, but I think she's definitely the most over on SmackDown.
She's easily the most over female.
Yeah.
on
I mean, how
SmackDown.
many weeks in a row has her spot or match or something involving her storyline been either the key segment or the main event segment on SmackDown?
And with the biggest pops too for
Mhm.
a couple of them.
Yep. She's got that stone cold love right now from
Yeah.
the fans.
She's getting some great reactions, and even during the match, it was great to see the fans so engaged with just them going back and forth, and Becky Lynch getting most of the support from the fans, and Charlotte
she's the
kinda,
heel in this
yeah,
story.
it's very, very interesting. We also had
Allegedly.
the Raw Tag Team Championship, where Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre won over Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. This is a damn good match. You have to think that it was going to be if you've got just what Ziggler and Rollins have done over the past 6+ months, but including McIntyre and Ambrose, this is a fun match. I don't know, what was the best match of the night. The next one we're going to get to, I think, is also I don't know if you guys would put it up there, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
I'll go with second best because I like the AJ Styles and Samoa Joe match just a little bit more. But this was kind of a unexpectedly good because Raw has not had the best tag team compared to SmackDown, because you have the New Day, the Bar, and the Usos and all that. They are some of the best tag team wrestling in WWE right now is on SmackDown. That's kind of undeniable, especially last year's Hell in a Cell match with the Usos and New Day being one of the best examples of just pure Raw talent from tag teams. And so it was a pleasant surprise to see that the Raw is like really stepping it up, especially with 4 great competitors all duking it out in the ring. And there's a lot of back and forth near the end, similar to SmackDown tag team matches where all of them are like pulling off their finishers, but they're still kicking out and everyone's all excited. And then that one final thing, and then get that 1, 2, 3, and Yeah, it's all really good stuff.
This was a very fun ending, Andre. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I think, going back to the original question, the match of the night was Styles and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And then in my mind, Becky Lynch and Flair close second. But the Raw Tag Team match was good itself. Remind me again of the finish. It was a distraction, wasn't it?
No, I think it was Ambrose.
Tag or blind tag or?
No, Rollins had, I think Rollins had Ziggler in something, and then Drew came in the Claymore kick, and
That's
then
right,
and
yeah.
then Dolph puts his arm on him, kind of like unconsciously, and then Drew had to like fireman carry him out of the ring and backstage, which was a nice little moment there in of itself.
Teamwork, baby. Yeah, it was a great match.
Yeah, I just really liked how Rollins had Ziggler, and I don't know if it was some sort of suplex or he was going for what he was going for, but at the same time he did that, McIntyre came in and gave him the boot to the face, so that was like he got Rollins while Rollins got Ziggler, which put Ziggler out, but McIntyre got the win, and carries Ziggler away with both titles.
Yep.
Oh, that was pretty
Both
neat.
titles in hands and Ziggler on his back.
That's right. That's how you do it. That's I'm enjoying this. These guys can go back and forth a little bit, right? With this much time but still 2 or 3 pay-per-views, whatever the hell you want to call it now, between now and Survivor Series. I imagine we're going to get some more of this rivalry unless you saw something different on Monday, Aiden.
Well, Monday they kind of the Rollins and Ziggler, he invoked his rematch clause for the Intercontinental Championship, but was unsuccessful in that, which that in of itself was a great match, as all Ziggler and Rollins matches are, and with actually little, I think, to no interference from McIntyre or Ambrose, because they themselves had a match earlier on, which also was a really good match. So we had 2 great matches between each of the competitors, and then because then it was kind of overshadowed by Baron Corbin, putting himself in the Universal Championship spot to
Right where he belongs, right?
Yes, right where he belongs to face Reigns at the end of the night. So, and then everyone came out for that, and it was a whole big thing. So, unfortunately, those 2 great matches are overshadowed by a Reigns match, as always.
And I think they'll feud for a little while, because I have a strong feeling it'll be the Shield versus those 3 with with another person on each side at Survivor Series in a Survivor Series style match. But I think either Crown Jewel or the Super Showdown, I can't remember which one.
It's Super Showdown. It's Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler versus the Shield in 6-man tag match. That's confirmed.
Okay, there you go. The next match you guys are both putting as the match of the night, AJ Styles retaining over Samoa Joe. But so match of the night, but you're still saying that Miz and Daniel Bryan and Becky and Charlotte are the better 2 rivalries going on SmackDown.
Yeah, but all 3 of them are great. I mean, it's
not a slight at either or any of the 3.
I like these 2. The other ones suck. No, I have my issues with Raw. I actually haven't watched a full episode of Raw or barely any Raw in over a month. Just SmackDown and NXT.
Don't worry, you're not missing too much.
And let me tell you, it's been very refreshing and fun as a fan. It doesn't feel like a chore anymore. And I have very little complaints about the things they do on SmackDown. So, yeah, this feud is up there, too. They're doing a lot of great stuff. The match itself was phenomenal, as all AJ Styles matches were. But the ending of it in and of itself was a thing of beauty, because the camera work, AJ Styles tapping right at the right time and doing it outside of the shot.
Out of the ref view as well.
Perfect.
And the best part was Joe's reaction, because he knows he's tapping, because he's tapping on his side, but so he thinks he wins, and then he all of a sudden he hears AJ Styles' music is playing, but then the ring announcer announces the winner, and he just freaks out. So that was not only a great match, but also a great aftermath to it as well.
And WWE in these situations can sometimes do it. They can pantomime it way too much, where it's just so obvious that, this is a screw job. They want everyone to see, even the people in the top nosebleed sections, where in this case, I didn't see the tap. I just saw that. We all just saw the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
and I thought he went. I was like,
the thing was, he started tapping like during the it goes 1, 2, and then at the 2 he starts tapping. So So one can say that they won, the other can say they won, but still, since this will lead to, I believe, Super Showdown for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Rule of thirds as always is the way to go.
Will
So
probably win that.
yeah,
But I love the way they did. I love the way that they came back and showed the replay, and they didn't do it right away. They let it breathe a little bit and let the story play out.
and the reaction and
the
all that, and
reactions
then they show the replay, and then Samoa Joe goes off on Paige and is like, "What's that? Look at that! What's that mean, eh?" Paige puts him in his place, as Paige does.
But great stuff. Yeah, no, that's my match of the night. And that's, yeah.
And luckily, less Wendy yelling.
God.
Wendy!
So
How long is Wendy's open till? Joe
1
can get
a.m.
a
or
late-
later, according to their sign.
Yeah, Joe can get a late night snack then.
There you go. Some JVCs. I'm a JVC guy. So neither of you guys see Samoa Joe winning the championship throughout this chapter in their rivalry. You think that AJ Styles walks away the champ when it's all said and done, and he will face someone else, and it will not be Samoa Joe, at least not this time around, to take the title off of Styles.
As of right now, yes, I think the next person to take the title off of Styles is going to be probably The Miz.
Maybe because if the title was going to change hands, I would have expected it at Hell in a Cell, and since their next match is at Super Showdown,
Which is where the number one contendership match is, too.
Which is also where that is. So
that's why AJ has to.
AJ will win, and then either Daniel Bryan or Miz, hoping Daniel Bryan. Then we'll.
No.
I'm hoping, because Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles would be great.
I want him to win the Rumble and take the title off of Miz at Mania, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
I think you could go Bryan and AJ Styles for the title for a little bit to wrap up the year, this last quarter. I think that'd be great.
Either way, if the Miz or Daniel Bryan wins, I think either of those would still be pretty good rivalries or feuds. But I can just tell that Joe will not be successful at Super Showdown, because if he would have been at Hell in a Cell, and then maybe
because then
Styles
he's
would have
going to
gotten it
win.
back.
If he wins that showdown, then AJ Styles gets his rematch, and then the number one contender is kind of sitting in limbo. There's a reggae song.
Exactly.
I can't think
We should have played it on that show before us.
Is it Jimmy Cliff? I can't remember. That's
Waiting in Limbo is a Jimmy Cliff song.
Jimmy Cliff.
Yes.
You
Waiting
had
in Limbo.
13
yes.
minutes, and this is what you got.
Yeah. I couldn't fit it in there. I just couldn't find the time. I had to get the Steel Pulse in there. So then we also had a mixed tag match with, of course, the mixed match. What is it called? Mixed match challenge.
Yes.
Coming up here.
This is basically an advertisement for that, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because I just couldn't get behind this match. It just felt too much like an intermission to a good rivalry.
That's interesting that you say that, because I had a hard time getting into this match as well. I'm very much invested in the Miz Daniel Bryan rivalry, but this seems like a truck stop on the way to an eventual destination. But it certainly wasn't going to come here, and it also Hell in a Cell. I didn't see that as a spot to really further anything, as opposed to continue the path.
Yeah, I think intermission would be a good term to describe it, because, like I've said many times, Rule of Thirds, where you had Miz and Daniel Bryan one-on-one at SummerSlam, and now you have them one-on-one at Super Showdown. This just felt like, this is an advertisement for the Mixed Match Challenge, clearly, since it just started on Monday. So, but this just got just a teaser for the next match at Super Showdown, which I can guarantee will be one of the best matches of the night in that show.
To use a phrase or a term that WWE likes to use and have named pay-per-view after it, this is a roadblock on the road to Super Showdown.
Well, roadblocks usually
match.
stop people. This is just slows them down just slightly, but then they'll pick up speed eventually.
Match wasn't horrible.
Not terrible in the slightest. Just not what
we're just
we
invested
all wanted.
in Miz and Daniel Bryan. But I must say their segment on Tuesday with Maurice and Miz and
that was pretty
Daniel
good.
Bryan was really good. Daniel Bryan's great. Daniel Bryan is.
Tell us about the segment.
So Miz and Maurice come down, or Miz comes down to have his show.
Yeah, the special guest on Ms. TV is, he had to pull a lot of strings for this one, his own wife, Maurice.
Oh, wow.
And then she
Yeah,
comes
big
down
shocker.
and they're talking smack, even though they're not talking smack. It's
Bring back Talking
Ms.
Smack.
TV. And then Daniel Bryan comes down and they get into an altercation. Daniel Bryan drop kicks Miz. Miz falls into his wife. His wife is hurt and she's holding her stomach. They bring the stretcher down.
She pop a gimmick?
No.
Just wait.
She asks Miz for water and Daniel Bryan's in the background just like upset that the whole thing happened. And Miz goes get her water and Daniel Bryan goes check on Maurice and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. And then Maurice kind of grabs the rope, looks up at him, and then she just grins
Evil
and
smile.
stands up, and then Miz attacks him.
Kind of a Wendy Peppercorn situation.
Attempts to, but
Attempts to-
then
oh,
Daniel,
yeah, Daniel
Daniel
Bryan got
Bryan
the upper hand.
versus it and then sends Miz and Maurice packing. Like, technically, I think he...
No, Miz sent Maurice packing when Daniel Bryan moved away, and then Miz
Yeah,
was
so,
the wife. So Daniel Bryan didn't physically attack her.
didn't technically physically attack her the first time because he just sent
But
Miz
it was
into
all a
her
ruse.
twice. But either way, very good segment to open SmackDown with.
Next up on the Hell in a Cell card, the Raw Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey defeats Alexa Bliss via submission to retain their... Andre, what do you got on this one? To me, this Alexa Bliss had, maybe because of Mickie James and Alicia Fox, but she... this was a lot less one-sided than times that we've seen these two in the ring previous to
SummerSlam.
this.
Correct.
This
Yes.
specifically,
And,
yes.
and I was happy with it. I thought this was Ronda Rousey's best one-on-one match in her career so far. She hasn't had a lot, but it was good to see her not dominate the whole match.
She actually sells the rib injury very well throughout the match and on Monday the next night.
I didn't see Monday, but I did see she did a great job of selling, and they did a good job of incorporating the three women that are friends with these two competitors. So yeah, I was happy with the match. Ronda Rousey, for the spot that she's in, she's got a lot of pressure on her. I know people think that she just handed it because she's Rousey, and that's kind of true, but that does mean that there's a lot of pressure on her too, because if she doesn't succeed, the backlash is going to be even worse than if she worked her way up, as some fans claim that she should, which is like, whatever, this is entertainment, who cares? But she's doing a great job for the spot she's in and for the amount of matches she's had. She's only getting better. She's only going to get better. So I think they're in a good place with her.
Yeah, she's significantly improved, even when she was already, had so much potential and a lot of greatness to her at WrestleMania, and it's in like less than a year, having progressively gotten better and better, and especially in the entertainment part of it, like selling the injuries and making spots actually look good, and she's done so much better at that in such a short time span. So she's clearly meant for this business, even though many people doubted her for so long.
And part of the reason is she loves the business too.
Yeah,
she loves professional wrestling, so she gets it. She understands it's not just a payday. She's not someone coming from another sport, which is nothing wrong with that. If you're good at what you do and it isn't something that you loved as a kid and you can entertain us, great. But it helps when it's someone like her that she loves the business. She's passionate about it. She's got a role model, like an idol in Roddy Piper, and it's just really cool to see that translate and to see you can tell that she's passionate about what she does when she's in the ring and when she's throwing people around and putting people on her shoulders.
She also got one of the best smiles and the best glares in the
Yes,
business right
yep.
now.
I'm in a full agreement on both of those things. I do feel like she is going to hurt somebody bad recently, soon. She does scare me in there sometimes, but
Same thing with
she's
Brock
getting
or anyone
safer.
else that's
she just
booked like that.
She looks more dangerous to me than anybody. I don't know.
That's the point. She's
That's what she's supposed
she's the
to.
baddest woman on the planet.
Exactly.
I think the other girls are
Women.
they're afraid of
saying.
her.
As they should be. It's Ronda
Yeah.
Rousey. That's the whole point.
I'm afraid of her.
She
It's
earned
like
she
she's-
earned the title of baddest woman on the planet for a reason.
And when her
suppose so.
and Shayna Baszler finally meet up, that's going to be...
Oh, that's gonna be good.
That
Hell
might
of a
be
match.
the person I'm most excited to see her fight.
Same here,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people that she can get in the ring with.
She
Men
still has
and
yet to go
women.
with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch.
That's true.
A lot of good stuff on the rise for Ronda Rousey. But yeah, I'd love to see any of those. But I think my Baszler would be my number one there.
Of course, they have history together.
Some big stuff from this week or this weekend. Rusev Day is broken up, right, guys?
Yes, I've turned heel.
Is everybody okay? Are you guys broken up about it?
Aiden, before I ask you to explain yourself, I do want to say this has been a long time coming, and it's going to be good for Rusev. I don't know if it's going to be good for Aiden, but I just want to say, even though with the way it went down, Aiden English is supposed to be the heel in this story, in this situation, but over SmackDown and over the pay-per-views of the past few months, I've grown and I love Rusev. I'm never going to cheer against Rusev, so it's not like I'm considering Rusev the antagonist in my mind, but Aiden English has turned into a very sympathetic character for me, and I feel almost bad for him. And even when he turned, I felt like it was because he had to turn. The way it went down, I don't know. It was a long story, but basically they're backstage before Rusev's match with Nakamura for the U.S. title, and they're talking, and Aiden's just like, man, you're going to get this, blah, blah, blah. And then Rusev says, yeah, because you're not going to be in the match. And Aiden's like, you're blaming me for the loss? I mean, I
tried my best.
Yeah, yep. And then they walk away, and Aiden just gets mad, and he turns to a producer or someone with a headset on and grabs him and just starts
ranting.
The only reason Lana's anything is because Rusev, blah, 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 and just talking smack about them. And the guy with the headset kind of gets his look on his face and goes,
just points behind him, and guess who's behind him?
Lana's behind him, and Lana's
the
like,
whole time.
I'm going to tell Rusev. And I think she said it in her accent, too, if I'm not mistaken. And then she runs off, and then another match happens, and then right before the U.S. title match, she runs to Rusev to try and tell him.
With
Rusev's
Aiden,
like, and Aiden's like,
behind her,
all nervous, and he's like, I don't care what it is. I want to focus on this match. And he looks and he's like, Aiden, will you do the honors? And Aiden's all happy. Yeah. He goes out and does an excellent introduction. And then he's hardcore cheering him throughout the match, like over the top, and has the mic and starts chanting, Rusev Day, gets the crowd to chant. And then Rusev is looking like he's on the verge of winning. Aiden jumps on the apron with mic in hand and says, Rusev, crush! And then Rusev turns and looks at him like,
what are you doing?
And then Nakamura gets the win. And
the roll
Rusev
up.
with the roll up. And Rusev is in the ring with Lana, and they're just like, what the heck? And all of a sudden, camera zoomed in on them so you don't see it. All of a sudden, Aiden comes and attacks him and beats the crowd out of him with the microphone.
Yeah, he actually breaks the microphone.
The
little WWE symbol
the
on the
logo,
microphone.
the Rusev Day symbol.
Right. But he breaks that. Almost intentionally, he breaks the Rusev Day logo on it. A lot of pent-up
anger in that beatdown.
He really just snaps.
And then stands over him and says...
Actually, no, he's on one side of the ring. He moves over to the other side, and then he says it as he was leaving the ring.
Happy Rusev Day! And then throws the microphone on Rusev and leaves the ring. So clearly he's the heel.
Now it's a happy Aiden Day.
But I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him.
He was forced into this.
A sympathetic villain.
Yes.
So are these two destined for a little rivalry maybe over the next month or so?
Yeah, but it's going to be Rusev Day all the way, as it should be, but I feel bad for Aiden.
Then what's next for Aiden English? Aiden English?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
You couldn't tell us. That would be
be
smart.
Spoiler warning.
Move him to Raw and have him team with Elias. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't really do that. No.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to
Knowing
happen.
WWE and Raw, if it's on Raw, it could probably happen. I feel more comfortable on SmackDown, but if they have those both those players, both those people on Raw, then that's bound to happen.
It's hard to say what Aiden English will do after this feud. Cause since, we just he's been kind of just flip-flopping between different stuff, starting with the vaudevillains and then all of a sudden being Rusev's ring introducer, I guess you'd call him.
He got himself over in Rusev Day. It's just a matter of, is this going to carry over, or is it just, as Conrad would say, the Rusev dust that was sprinkled on him and didn't work? So we'll see if the Rusev dust does work in this situation.
Well, I'll just have to find out. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be good for Rusev, especially because that means Rusev's going to be put in a more prominent spot.
And then maybe eventually win the U.S. title, perhaps?
Or the WWE title in 2019. He's going to have a WWE championship win at some point in 2019. I'm saying that right now.
What kind of championship? Deserves it.
WWE.
Main title.
Really?
Main title.
In 19.
2019 at some point.
All right, get the shirts made,
long.
kids.
I don't know if it's going to be long reign, short reign, whatever, but it's going to happen.
HBK is your favorite all-time wrestler.
The GOAT.
And there's a lot of
rumor and innuendo
that a return is possible.
And this is not just rumor and innuendo. Whether you like him or not, Meltzer has said it on multiple occasions. Even before things have gone down the way they did. Because I did see the Undertaker segment on Raw. That's the one segment I managed to catch.
Yes.
And everything that Meltzer said is lining up with the promo that Undertaker had, where Kane's going to be in his corner for his match at... is it the Super Showdown or is it the
Super Showdown?
Super Showdown.
That's the main
and
event.
And HBK is going to be in Triple H's match. And according to Meltzer, there's going to be one of two matches that they're going to do. And that's one is going to be a tag match, which is the original DX versus the Brothers of Destruction, which looks like that's lining up pretty well. And then the other match is, believe it or not, what they're saying is HBK versus Undertaker. And honestly, I'd buy it. I'd believe it. I believe they can both do it. I definitely do. I think HBK is Superman. He's Michael Jordan. He can come out and put on a great match right now. Well, not right now, but at a big event. And I think he will. If he does. How true is all this? What's Meltzer's track record? I don't know the stats. But it's been reported by him and multiple other people. And it's just kind of being thrown around the internet like it's going to happen. Which to me, I'd say I'm leaning more towards it not happening than it happening. But this is the door has been opened for me to think that he is going to come back and wrestle a match or matches.
Do you want it to happen?
Yeah, I kind of do, man. It's
You're
like
not worried
he's
about
my
him tarnishing
hero.
his legacy?
No, you're not going to tarnish your legacy.
His legacy is kind of already set in stone, right?
Yes,
well, what if
yeah.
he really, really stunk it up here?
He's 53. That's what happens. The Undertaker will just dominate him, and that'll be fine. And he'll tag Triple H, and then that's the story, is the beat-up old gunslinger trying to do it one more time. Is Brett Favre's legacy tarnished? No. You bring him up to Packer fans, they love him. I don't think it'll tarnish his. He's got 25 years of excellence. If he comes out and has one bad match, that's not going to taint his career.
How long has he been retired? 9 years?
Since 2010, so almost 9 years.
Okay. Aiden, I'm guessing this is something you'd like to see as well?
Part of me does, part of me doesn't. So, my first exposure to Shawn Michaels was WrestleMania 25, him versus The Undertaker.
Wow. That's awesome.
And so, really, one of my first matches I ever see live on TV back when we didn't have the WWE Network for $9.99 was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And then I witnessed the leading up to WrestleMania 26 when you have Shawn Michaels at like his lowest point, puts his entire career on the line against The Undertaker's
Great stuff,
undefeated
by the way.
streak.
Ugh.
So really, that was my first exposure to Shawn Michaels and my first exposure to The Undertaker, which, in my opinion, was be the best way to be introduced to those two. So, and the impact of that match at WrestleMania 26 being one of the best matches I've ever seen.
25 and 26.
Yes, both of those matches are absolutely perfect in my opinion. So, part of me saying that I would rather just see that WrestleMania 26 match as Shawn Michaels' last match where he really commits, and that's the end. That's his career. But, you know, obviously we'd all want to see, a little part of us just wants to see him in the ring one more time.
If you ask NBA fans if they want to see Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or one of their heroes come back and play in an NBA game to see what they could do, I bet you they'd all say yes.
Yes, and the same thing with this. Everyone would want to see another HBK match. But, you know, when he on his promo on, I believe, 2 weeks ago, when he said, like, I've stayed committed for the last 8 or 9 years to stay in retirement, where other guys, when they said they retired, they didn't.
Another great segment.
So, yeah, I mean,
Do you want him to ruin that? He'll tarnish that too.
It's not, because the whole story they're setting up is the reason he's retired is to keep his word. And the one person that can give him that ability to come back is The Undertaker.
Yeah,
and when he screws The Undertaker at Showdown, Undertaker's going to want his vengeance. He's going to want to make Shawn rest in peace.
And then WrestleMania will be Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker for the last time.
And Undertaker's career is on the line, and Shawn Michaels wins, Undertaker loses, and they both retire into the sunset as two of the greatest to ever live, as Michael Jordan and Tim Duncan, or whatever you want to call them.
All right, let's have some fun with hypotheticals here. Hypothetically speaking, if Shawn Michaels were to take on these couple matches and decide he wants to stick around, give me 3 wrestlers under the age of 43 that you would want to see.
Darn, Matt Hardy's out of it. No,
that you would want to see Shawn Michaels have a wrestling match with. 3 current they have to be on the roster. 43, younger than 43.
The WWE entire roster.
Anybody on the roster.
Gargano, Velveteen Dream, and Samoa Joe, because Shawn Michaels really wants to face Samoa Joe.
Aiden, you're going to say Daniel Bryan, right?
My first choice,
I take back Samoa Joe.
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles would be a great one.
Then Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
And then I would also go with Velveteen Dream, because those two have amazing elbow drops.
Velveteen Dream would be great to see, and he's been working with some of these NXT guys too.
Oh, he's been working a lot with Gargano, which is why I threw his name out there.
That's a really good one. I love. Gosh, there's not really a bad answer
4th.
so far. Yeah, Gargano's got to be up there.
AJ Styles is definitely be top of my list. Faced Shawn Michaels.
Styles Michaels would be a great match. I love the Daniel Bryan thing. I'm a Sami Zayn
also
guy.
I saw a fan made thing where it's like WrestleMania.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles. Like,
I'm taking back my Samoa Joe one. I simply said that because that's someone that Shawn Michaels has name dropped as someone that he's never wrestled that he want to. So I'm being selfish and saying, yeah, Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles is going to take that Samoa Joe spot.
I remember watching a table for 3 with Shawn Michaels, and he brings up the AJ Styles and Shawn Michaels poster that someone put in there. He's like, yeah, he would be all for that, but he's on the table for 3. He said he wanted to stick to his retirement. So hard to say.
It does make it with the promo that him and Undertaker had on Raw, which is one of the best promos that I've seen in a long time. And I didn't see the rest of the show that night, and I'm glad I didn't, because I feel like that would probably overshadow everything that anyone did that show. But I could be wrong.
It did.
But the way that they told that story and the back and forth is like, Jim Ross even said it on his podcast the next day. It's got to lead to something, right?
I mean, because Undertaker says, if you were to come out of retirement, the one person you would come after is me, and I would put you down again.
2 old gunslingers showing the youngins how it's done as far as delivering a promo. That was one of my favorite promos of 2018.
It's been nearly 10 years since their iconic WrestleMania 25 bout, which I think everybody should not only know about but watch intently, as well as the WrestleMania 26 match.
Yes.
I have no doubt in my mind that Shawn Michaels could come back right away and be Shawn Michaels, right?
Oh, he can totally do it. It's
At
just
least
a matter
the version
if he
of
does.
it. He'd still be great. He might not be 98 Shawn Michaels. Might not even be 2008 Shawn Michaels, but he'd still be entertaining as hell.
He can
and he'd
still be
put
the
on a
icon
good match.
and Mr. WrestleMania.
And the older I've gotten, I've noticed that wrestling is not as much about athleticism as it is about telling a story.
Storytelling, yes.
And Shawn Michaels at his age and his brain and how smart he is when it comes to the wrestling business. Oh, and Undertaker. And you throw on Triple H and Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Good storytelling right there. But I do hope it's a one-on-one match if he does. If it's just one match.
So what kayfabe reason will they give Knox County when their mayor is missing?
Vacation day. No, he's
He just got elected, so they're like,
he'll be doing ambassador work in Australia or something
for a county in Tennessee. Gotta get those
Whatever.
good foreign.
If we're talking, if it's kayfabe. We're talking professional wrestling. We had Druids with capital D's carry a man off of out of a stadium, so it's professional wrestling.
All right, outside of WWE roster, give me two
Kenny
guys
Omega.
under the age of 43 who you
Kenny
want to
Omega
see.
is under 43.
He is, yes.
Kenny
He's
Omega's
36,
one.
37. Okay.
And I'm going to be so biased, and you're going to think I'm nuts. But Marty Scurll.
Oh,
Because,
my
hear me
God.
out. The chain.
Oh my God.
The chain.
You're fired.
The
You are fired. You're fired.
the chain wrestling sequences that they would have, they could have a whole full 40-minute match of just chain wrestling and reversal, and it would be a
my
thing of
God.
beauty. So those are my two that I'm saying right now. Or maybe Kota Ibushi. I don't know. It's too tough
There,
to pick two.
see, now you're
So I'm
talking
picking
my
three.
language.
Those three right there.
See, okay.
You're a hater.
Omega
You're a
for
Marty
sure.
Scurll hater.
Ibushi, yes. And then for my third, Okada would be awesome to see a Shawn Michaels Okada match.
Yeah, that's Kazuchika Okada is my first.
Okay, that's your number one. You know what would be fun is a DX Young Bucks. I know now we're getting real crazy here, but I just whatever.
Oh,
but
that
okay,
would
what
be
else you
so
got,
fun,
Aiden?
too.
So you're going Okada number one. You going Omega 2, or is he not quite in there?
No, Okada's 3.
Okada.
So
Oh, okay.
My second pick.
So you have Omega and Okada though, right?
Yes.
And you're picking a
So
third.
the third is Omega. First is Okada.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna go. Just kind of a strange pick. Hiromu Takahashi. I feel
Interesting.
I feel like he could.
Ben Wong would really love you right now, I think, for saying that if he were here.
Plus, I just want to see Daryl again.
What about Rey Mysterio? Oh wait, you said non-WWE wrestlers. My bad.
Well, you want to break that news for us?
Breaking news seen here and everywhere else online, but Rey Mysterio has signed a 2-year deal with WWE. He wanted only a 1-year deal, but rumor and innuendo has it it's a 2-year deal, but he has an option after 18 months where he can skedaddle if he wants to. So he's already under contract. They're just haven't put him on TV yet because they're unlike what they do with NXT guys. They're waiting until they have something set for him before they bring him back. So I'm looking forward to seeing him compete in WWE again for the next year or maybe 2, and some of the matches that he has not yet had in his career that he could have. And we saw it all in that he still got it.
And I'm looking forward to the potential of Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas.
Oh
Oof.
my.
So do you guys want to see him on
Future.
SmackDown over Raw? And let's
Oh, yeah.
okay, but
Absolutely.
let's make all things equal. Let's suppose that Raw had equal storyline writing and
But
was
the-
less drudging.
But the better wrestlers and the better potential is on SmackDown.
Okay,
For
Yeah, but Raw has great
it
roster,
comes down to
too.
the roster, is what you're saying, Aiden.
yes.
Okay.
Not for me. To me, it's the writing because Raw's roster is full of great performers
That's
that I
true,
absolutely love that are just it's just not the same as what we're being seen on SmackDown. So I would definitely want to see him on SmackDown, especially if you look and the roster too. You're actually right as far as matches that we could see him having.
The potential
AJ
is, I think,
Styles,
it's just a little
Rusev,
more than on
all those guys.
more on
Samoa
SmackDown.
Joe too
Samoa
would be
Joe.
a fun one.
Mhm.
Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe.
And
They're not gonna
tag
use
matches with New Day
But
against
him-
New Day and triple threat matches
If
with
on
other
Raw-
teams and
on Raw. Him against Balor, I think, would be a very fun match.
yeah, or Superstar Shake-Up Ballard or SmackDown.
Are they going to 205 him?
I hope not. If they do, it's not going to be the end of the world because 205 has a great roster and great talent, and it'll give me an excuse to actually start tuning in again. But I hope they don't. I think he deserves to be on a main roster.
I think
at
Rey
this point in
Mysterio
career.
versus Mustafa Ali would be a great
Oh my
match.
gosh! Anywhere, yeah, you're right. Anywhere he goes, whether it's SmackDown, Raw, 205, or NXT, he's gonna have great matches.
You think they
so it's
could?
gonna
You
be good.
think since because of the legacy and the prestige of Rey Mysterio that he could just be on both shows and also occasional 205 live? Why not?
He is in that class of few
Of the
that
Cena,
would that could.
Undertaker.
He's the
Yes.
first ballot Hall of
He
Famer,
is
definitely.
He is one of the
so-
few that
'Cause
could do
there's
that.
Cena, Undertaker, and Triple H that are the only ones that can go on any show, right? As kayfabe right
Kind
now.
of.
Hey, Rey
Sure,
Mysterio
right
is
now.
definitely in that
So
class.
he's in that class? I agree.
Okay, so did Leo Rush make his debut on Monday night?
Yes, he did.
How about that? Do you like him being pulled away from 205 Live? It means they see something in him, right?
I
It's
like
for
what
him
he,
to,
I
'cause
like what he's
very
doing
few
with Bobby
people.
Lashley.
And it's good for Lashley, too, to have a mouthpiece finally.
Oh,
my.
that's who they are putting him with.
And
oh,
he's
I
it was
really
fun.
like
It was a
that.
fun segment. Watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
He attacks Kevin Owens and Elias, and Bobby Lashley takes him and throws him, and it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Okay.
A
there.
little sequence
good
of him
segment.
slipping out of Elias's hands and dodging Kevin Owens' attacks and then being thrown over by Bobby Lashley is a great segment.
Okay, all right. I'm glad to hear that. That's a smart move. I think that Leo Rush can be extremely
I'm
helpful.
a huge Leo Rush fan. I like
see
Leo
a
Rush a lot. Star potential right there,
yeah.
baby.
No, he's one of my
Man
favorite.
of the hour.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Let's
Okay.
Hopefully it's a good hour on Raw because there's only this. 3 of them are not so good right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I still go by my statement that Raw is some great background noise, though.
That's fair.
Just
For
play
me, while I play video
NBA
games,
2K.
Hey, play it and just listen to it.
that's
true. That's a
kinda,
good
That's
point.
kind of how I go.
'Cause
One on the laptop, one on the TV.
yeah. I just
Not
do
for
some.
SmackDown, baby. I haven't
No, pay
focused
attention
on
to that.
SmackDown.
But the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels segment did actually make me look away from my computer, so I'll give him credit for that.
There you go.
I'm so glad I was lucky enough. I was on Twitter and saw someone tweet, "Oh my God, the Undertaker's here!"
Yeah,
And I used it on my app, and it was so
up.
perfect because my app is delayed. So I put on the app, and right as I put on the app, the arena's dark and the gong
Yeah.
goes. I'm like, yes!
Yeah, because I was just kind of, I listened to the Shawn Michaels and paid attention to that because it's Shawn Michaels, and then all of a sudden, Undertaker, and then I'm fully focused. That's all my attention right there.
Shawn Michael Jordan. That's what we're calling
Shawn Michael
him.
Jordan, Mark Calloway.
Last note before we get out of here, there was apparently TNA Impact officials met with WWE. A lot of speculation about this. Could it be an AJ Styles Hall of Fame induction for TNA? Is WWE looking to get more of the library? Who knows right now?
The last time they did something like that, in order for one of the TNA guys to appear for WWE had to send Christian to one of their shows. So maybe if we're sending AJ to the Hall of Fame, if WWE is sending AJ to the Hall of Fame at TNA, then they can send someone to WWE for a one-night only appearance.
I feel like this is a library thing because
I think so too.
Since they've showed some stuff from their GWN things that they're just like looking for more of that. Plus, with all the people on the WWE roster that were previously in TNA, that it'd be great to have the footage of their great matches in TNA. Just at their disposal to use whenever they need it.
Well, the show is done, but it's not over. You can help us get over by giving us a like and a follow on social media.
Yes, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and I think that's it. But you can find us at the Schmozcast on all of those platforms.
We're everywhere.
That's right. All right, folks, catch us next week. Catch us on social media.